Hey
Great.
everyone, this is the monthly CEO AMA on a public stream. Florian, you want to verbalize the first question?
Hello. Hey, Sid. Thanks for hosting this. So my question is, I've read reports about Microsoft and Copilot in particular, but basically all the big AI players generally losing money on their subscriptions. And was interested on your thoughts on how to compete in an environment where there's so many competitors employing loss-leading strategies.
Yeah, thanks for that. I think that the costs are evolving really, really rapidly in AI. You have things that lower cost, like sparse models, models of experts, faster chips, lower precision. You have things that increase the costs, like bigger models and the context window increasing. It's kind of hard to say how that will all play out, but if the costs are prohibitive for some things over time, you can make those kind of more efficient either. Yeah, there's lots of ways to kind of increase efficiency or reduce the usage and do all kinds of other things. So I think over time, we'll be able to figure that out. So for us, we're focused on selling, Duo, adoption, and usage. And we are mindful of the costs, but right now our focus is on the adoption side. And I will keep an eye on the costs, and if some parts of it become a problem, we'll adjust. Thanks for the question, Tim.
Yes, Sid, after Summit, it seems like you've spent time on the road. You were in the Washington, D.C. area, so we appreciate you meeting with our PubSec customers and partners. Just any observations and ideas that you got from customers when you were on the road. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. It was great visiting customers and investors who've been to New York, Boston, and Washington, D.C. Some things that our customers are super interested in, software attestation, preventing supply chain attacks. I think at GitLab, we already have a bunch of functionality, including software bill of materials and things like that, but there's further ways to improve. We also have release evidence already in the product. So we're in a good spot there, but the bar is going up and we should continue to lead there. In the compliance frameworks, I see room for non-GitLab tested policies. Right now, we allow you to have policies like every piece of code should be reviewed by 2 people, and we do static scanning and all these things that GitLab does. Sometimes there's also requirements that are non-GitLab, but they still like to use the GitLab compliance reporting. So I'd love for GitLab to enable that, where you can add a kind of a manual policy, or not necessarily manual, but a policy that's non-GitLab tested, and you can do that either manually or via an API. I think our current compliance reporting is pretty complex. We have frameworks and standards, and there's a lot of overlap between them. So I look forward to simplifying that so it becomes easier to understand and use. There's interest in developer portal functionality. People are galvanizing around Backstage, but I think some of what Backstage does, GitLab already has, and the other things maybe we can add to the product to GitLab pretty easily, preventing people from having to use both GitLab and Backstage. And then co-creation. I think we can create more with customers. Customers will have an infinite list of things they need, but many times the top things they need are super relevant to other customers too. So we'd love for them to contribute it to GitLab. And I want to get to a construct where we send a GitLab engineer out who's an expert in that field, who pairs up with at least one engineer at the customer who really wants that feature. So we try to kind of start that together. Maybe for even if they just work on it for a week, then you already have that. You got something going, and then we can continue that remote. But I think being in person for a week would really help kickstart that. another Tim with takeaways from Summit.
Yeah, I was curious. Were there any surprising takeaways for you, Sid, as you reflect upon our time together?
I'm mostly surprised that it went as well as it did. Not because I didn't think we'd be doing a great job and organizing it, but it's so many people, so many moving parts. Events are really hard because you don't get a second chance to fix something. It's not like the CI test fail and you get another stab at it. Like there's just that single moment in time. And I think it was expertly organized. I also thought that our team members brought a great attitude and energy. We've had lots of people who said, I reached 150 people very early and I went for 300. I was also very happy with how the unconference worked out. I might have acted a bit like that. This is something very normal, but I think we probably organized the biggest unconference in the history of the world with 300 sessions. And I've heard nothing but good things. Not sure who idea it was to have a Taylor Swift karaoke session, but I am bummed for not attending that one. And I've just heard a lot of people who connected over work items and over non-work items during the unconference. So I'm glad that part of the program worked out as well. But also like the production value of the keynote sessions where we were all together, I think was really, really well done. So also the facilities, like the Bellagio was just an awesome venue, recently remodeled. It was so practical to be in the same hotel that had the conference facilities and we could all be together. So yeah, couldn't be more happy about how it turned out.
Yeah, I was personally blown away by how well everything was put together and executed upon. My only thing that I wish could have happened had we been able to acquire Oxeye the week before and had them join us. Maybe next time.
Maybe next time we will not hesitate to use Summit as a due date to speed things along. I think some people joined just because Summit before Summit to be able to attend that. I think that was smart of them and their managers. Cool. If you can't access the Google Doc, feel free to put it in the chat. Thanks to Devin for noting that.
Sid, I'll verbalize a quick question. Now that we're 2 weeks beyond Summit and we're entering the last month of Q1 here, are there key things that you'd want everybody to keep in mind as we look to close out the quarter strong here?
There's work to do, like usual. One of the big drawbacks of Summit is that kind of our efficiency drops, especially before and after as people are traveling and people understandably kind of sometimes attach vacations to their travel. Maybe it's their first time they got even a visa to enter the US because of Summit. So it'd be great as a company if we make the weeks we have left in the quarter count and do great things with both on all the sites, especially the go-to-market and R&D sites.
Sid, I'll verbalize a question. I know that there's been a lot of people working behind the scenes on the handbook. There's been some issues with the handbook and review apps and other things. And I guess, I'm just curious, as GitLab continues to mature as a company and grow as a company and new people join the company, what's your perspective on our handbook and kind of processes and communication, and how important is that to GitLab success?
Yeah, I think it's an important part both of how we communicate, but also of our talent brand and even our company brand to our customers. And I would love for the handbook to find kind of a permanent home in the L&D function in the people department. If you're not done writing your question, you can post it in the chat channel. Just say public or private, so we know what type of question it is. I see nothing else. Thanks so much, everyone.